So I briefly touched on this idea that people who are prominent in the media make these appearances on their show, or they go on as guests on other shows, and they say things that are flat out wrong, that are not factual, and they just get to continue as though nothing happened, as though they didn't make a mistake, as though they didn't lie, as though they aren't irresponsible with their platforms. And in that case, it was Joe Rogan. But in this case, we're talking about Lindsey Graham, who went on ABC News's Sunday program this week with Pierre Thomas. And of course, Lindsey Graham is a senator from South Carolina. He is a Trump supporter. He is consistently on TV making the rounds, defending anything and everything that Donald Trump does. And of course, we're not going to see anything different here. But there is something remarkable in his response to Pierre Thomas that I think is worth talking about, that I think is important to talk about. And in this question, he's going to be asked about Donald Trump's consistently denying the election results. He's continuing to deny the election results. And is that something that Lindsey Graham thinks is a problem?
I have to ask you, the president, former President Trump, continues to say he won the election. He claims to be an election denier proudly. Now, we teach our children when they lose something to shake the opponent's hand and move on. Are you concerned that the president former president is not setting the proper standard going forward here, sir?
Well, Hillary Clinton had the same view that she was cheated. He's not the first politician to claim to have been denied a fair election. But here's what I would say. I accept the election results of 2020. I'm worried about 2024. If President Trump puts a vision out improving security and prosperity for Americans, he will win. If he looks back, I think he will lose. So at the end of the day, the 2020 election's over. For me, we need to secure the ballot in the 2024 cycle. But Donald Trump's not the first person to complain about an election.
Okay, can you imagine after all this time, his first response to that question is Hillary Clinton? And you can kind of see him there searching internally for buzzwords that will have conservatives thinking that he made a successful appearance on this show. And the first one that comes to mind is Hillary Clinton, because if you say Hillary Clinton, then automatically the conservatives watching it are going to be very excited and thrilled. It doesn't matter if it is illogical, it doesn't make sense. And he's saying that Hillary Clinton felt that she was cheated. He's trying to draw a comparison between Hillary Clinton's actions following the election and Donald Trump. And Hillary Clinton conceded immediately. The election was Tuesday, November 8th, 2016. She conceded in a phone call to Trump early Wednesday morning, the very next day. And then she gave a speech that day on Wednesday the 9th. And she said, Donald Trump is going to be our president. Quote, Donald Trump is going to be our president. We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead. That was what Hillary Clinton's approach was. She wasn't calling Georgia election officials to pressure them. She wasn't calling election officials in Michigan to pressure them, as we're learning. There was no widespread campaign and conspiracy to challenge the election results. Hillary Clinton can feel a certain way if she felt cheated. I don't know. But she can feel a certain way. And that is very different from Donald Trump's actual actions following the election. And he's continuing to mount a pressure campaign within his base and encouraging people within his base to challenge those election results. Like we saw with the insurrection. Hillary Clinton did not instigate an insurrection. Donald Trump did that. You also heard Lindsey Graham say he's not the first person to complain about an election. It's always with this childlike sense of responding to things. I don't understand it. He's not just complaining. Again, we just talked about this. He's not just complaining. It's more than that. He attempted to overthrow the United States government. That is very different than just complaining. So Lindsey Graham went on to say during this appearance that he's worried about 2024. He said that if President Trump puts the vision out improving security and prosperity for Americans, he will win. If he looks back, he will lose. That's Lindsey Graham's take. And I have to wonder if this is going to be a new approach for Republicans, but I feel like it's a little too late for this because Donald Trump will not stop talking about the election. He will not stop talking about how we need to challenge the election results, how it was stolen from him. And he's continuing to lead the Republican presidential election. He's continuing to lead over Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, in some polls by double digits. So he is continuing to be the choice for the Republican Party. Why would he change course now when it's obvious that what he's doing is working with the Republican base, with the people who are going to vote for him, who like what he does? Lindsey Graham's opportunity to rein Donald Trump in and convince him to behave in a different way, I don't know if that could have ever happened, honestly, but if that was going to happen, it would have been a long time ago, years ago. We are past that. There's no reining Donald Trump in. Donald Trump is going to do what he wants to do in order to get into power, whatever it takes. And Lindsey Graham has shown that he's going to go along with it, regardless of what his principles are. He's ready. He's all in. He's going to go for it. So again, we have people making appearances on TV, saying things that are inconsistent with previous things they've said, making it clear that they don't have principles. And Lindsey Graham is just another one.